Oh, I'm coming out the snake pit for this. King Jareer in your ear. I'm so fit I don't fit in. This is a chaos edition, not a cave edition. All praise is due to Nat Turner. All praise is due to Nat Turner. May the sun burn our enemies. Let's get right into it. So take a gander. I was looking at the country origins. When they break down nations and shit like that, when they would start breaking down countries and nations, first and foremost, I see the goddamn stars, pentagrams and shit. You know how to trap demons and all this celestial. So you're dealing in celestialism, demonology, astrology, stars in the fucking sky. You know what I mean? They use this same thing. They trapping demons. The pentagram to trap the demon game. Solomon trapping demons. Remember, we already showed the book, the supernatural. The Satanic Dictionary, where it says the black man is the devil. We didn't already expose that we've been depicted as everything evil on the low. Remember, low is deep, deep is low, deep is roots. Roots. You look at what is roots? Slave movies. They call it slaves. It's called the Milky Way. Makes sense that Somol is goat milk, God's milk. You put a D, that's God. You put an AT, that's goat. You know what I mean? Goat milk. What type of milk? Goat. It ain't dead milk. Because they don't do breastfeeding. They it's called animal husbandry. Husbandry. So when you look at pastoralism, you're an animal husband. Yeah. That's why you do the favors for the milk. That's what you think they do to get the milk. Sexual favors. Remember this for educational purposes. This may ruffle some feathers, shake up the nearest and the furthest cave, flip a teepee, and melt an igloo. So we got this out the way. The milk game. Remember, it's called the Milky Way. Fulanis come from milk. A lot of people have milk origins. Greek, they got milk in Norse mythology, Hinduism, Abrahamic situation, and now you got milk in your name, and it's called the Milky Way, and black people are lactose intolerant. They say majority of the people on the planet is lactose intolerant. Africans and Asians have the highest percentage of lactose intolerant. Only desert dwellers, Afro-Asiatics and Nilotics, all desert dwellers, all ectomorph bodies, all skinny bodies, Khoisans, desert, Nilotics, deserts, all nomads, deserts, dry climates, pastoralism, and dairy. That's that's basically the main ingredients to be that. You must drink milk. You must have a skinny body. You must be in the desert. Only thing different between the Khoisan is they're not mentioned in the Bible, but they do have a history because they have a cave history. Remember, all history is cave history. Huh? All history is cave history. And the people in charge is milk drinking. That's why it's called the Milky Way. The Asian is not in charge. The Caucasian is in charge. All these biblical characters. Remember, Ethiopia is in the Bible. Also, on the flip side, it's in the Arab situation on Abyssinia. So remember, when it's Muslim control, is Abyssinia. If it's Christian control, it's Ethiopia. And this is King Jareer in your cave. Y'all gotta understand how the bars work. When it's Axum, it's Christian. When it's Abyssinian, it's Muslim. When it's back to Ethiopia, it's Christian. Seriously. Just like, what's the difference between a Hamite and a Semite? A Hamite has more melanin than a Semite. That's the same thing when tell the difference between a Dominican and a regular Latino. They call you Dominican if you're brown skin. If you're dark skin, you got melanin, you're Dominican. Just like if you got melanin, you'll be Hamite. But now if you don't got melanin, you're regularly Hispanic. You're Mexican or something. Honduras. They gonna say, are you from Honduras? If you ain't got no melanin, are you from Honduras? You ain't got no melanin, are you from El Salvador? You got some melanin. Even when I work in Spanish club, they gonna ask me, am I Dominican? They ain't ask me if was I from El Salvador. You know? I did security for multiple caves. And they always lead back to black. They always, if I got dreads, they talk about reggae, Bob Marley. You know what I mean? Or got a haircut, I'm talking about boxing, Mike Tyson. That's a whole nother story. Let's get back to this. It all associates. So remember, this all aligns with the Milky Way and the milk and honey. So when you go to this Ethiopia, you get this lalabella that's dealing in honey. Also, what does it say? Robbers of heart. Look, robbers of hearts. Heart, pride, that's a bar. Pride, that's a group. We don't have a pride, we don't have a group. We don't have heart. So take this heart-shaped herb so you can have some heart, like the Black Panther. You know what I mean? You don't have a heart like the, who didn't have a heart? The Tin Man? Or the Lion? Or the Lion didn't have no heart, I don't think. Oh shit, the Lion didn't have heart. And the Wizard of Oz. The bars are there. I try to give you examples so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about on something you've seen before. So when I bring up something, I try to get you to relate so you can understand what I'm saying to a degree. It's really not about the movie itself. It's just so you can understand it. So when you see a bunch of fucking stars, it's fucking Star Wars. It's a Star Wars. What do you think Star Wars mean? What do you think they mean by Star Wars? Huh? What do you think they mean by Star Wars? When somebody says Star Wars, what do you think? You thinking goddamn fiction. You got honey, you got milk. The land of milk and honey. Lalabella, the goddamn honeybees. Even when they born. When you born and shit and you got good luck, they say bees flying around you. Even when you look into the Ethiopian honeybee, the Ethiopian honeybee comes from the goddamn European honeybee. So the Ethiopian honeybee is a European honeybee. You understand? The Ethiopian honeybee is a European honeybee. The Ethiopian honeybee is a European honeybee. Just like the Cape Town honeybee is a European honeybee. So ain't no such thing as no damn Cape Town honeybee or Ethiopian honeybee. Because they're fucking European offsprings. Oh, born in Africa, now you're Ethiopian? So even the bees is from Europe. They're from Europe. Playing all in the stars. They needed the stars because it was sand. There wasn't no landmarks. If you look into goddamn landmarks and shit like that, they didn't have no landmarks in the desert. That's why they had to use the damn sky and the stars and shit. To find their way, they had to use the light. God is a light. They had to use the light. Allah is the light. They had to use the light. They got the light-skinned gene. The stars are light. They had to use the light. They sit up here and say they have celestial nose. They say they nose points to the heavens. Or does it point to the stars? The stars is the heavens. It makes up the heaven. A moon makes up the heaven. The sun makes up the heavens. You see what I'm saying? A bird can get to heaven. That's why they got bird noses. A bird can get there. God's a bird. Allah's a bird. So you got to look into the finesse. They all saying it. Living on mountains and shit. Even when they come to America, they come to mountainous areas. Mountain people, mountain men. Goats love mountains. The goddamn camel on their cave is indigenous to North America. The ghost is indigenous to Mesopotamia. You see what I'm saying? The horses is Arabian horses or North American horses. None of the animals they got is indigenous. None of the insects and bees is not indigenous, and they're not indigenous. A narrow nose is a cold climate trait. They got orthodoxic jaws, that's straight jaw. So they have no African traits. The Afro-Asiatic on average has no African traits other than being on African soil. And the first thing they say, what's an African trait? You have none. That's why you don't have a functioning camera. You have none. That's why you disagree. You have none. That's why you don't know. So when we say African traits, you say, what's African traits? Like you ain't got Google. Like you ain't got a dictionary. Like you can't look into anthropology and phenotype. Well, you're just jealous. What they got to do with what I'm talking about? That's misdirection. Does anything a goddamn teacher talk about in any class? Do anybody accuse them of being jealous? When a teacher teaches, do they get accused of jealousy and obsessions? But when you black and you're exposing these cave babies, these bird babies, these birds get up here and say the same thing. And remember this for educational purposes. This may ruffle some feathers and shake some caves. But we still gonna drop bars. We gonna come with more accounts, and it is what it is. So this is land of milk and honey. Black people are lactose intolerant, and then bees coming from Europe. And this is King Jarir in your ear. I'm so fit I don't fit in. Cave, please. I say cave, please. I say cave, please.